I'm Graham Jason Matthews, and we are back here on WrestleRant with one of my favorite pay-per-views of 2011. And as you guys know, anyone who has followed the channel for a long time, has known me for a long time, knows that 2011 was, before 2015, my favorite year in wrestling. And this pay-per-view, I loved. Money in the Bank 2011 is my favorite pay-per-view of all time, period. But Elimination Chamber, because, all the other installments were kind of mediocre and forgettable, this one kind of gets thrown under the rug. But I just think it's so goddamn good. One of my favorite pay-per-views from that year. And that's hard to say. It's really tough to say. I love TLC. That was probably my second favorite. I loved Extreme Rules. I loved fucking SummerSlam. There was a lot of great shows that year. The Rumble was also really, really good. WrestleMania was not good at all. But I thought this show kind of outshined WrestleMania in many ways, and we'll get down to that right now. So kicking out the show, Alberto Del Rio taking on Kofi Kingston, who was the then Intercontinental Champion. I believe at one point the plan was to have Del Rio beat Kingston for the title and then go on to WrestleMania to maybe win both championships or do a champion and champion match, but they nixed that plan, which, it would have been cool if they did, to be honest with you. I think Edge and Del Rio had a good feud going into Mania, but if they had Del Rio as IC champion at the same time, it would have been pretty cool to see him. It would have added an extra layer to the match that wasn't there when they had their match at Mania, if that makes sense. Because Kingston, it's not like he defended the title at WrestleMania anyway. He had a pretty weak reign. I remember he won the title on the premiere edition of SmackDown in 2011 in a great match with Dolph Ziggler. But that was it. From that, past that point, he never really did much. He was losing every single week to pretty much everyone on the roster. He was booked like shit the second time he held that championship. So I don't know why was it the second time or the third or the fourth? I fucking forgot how many times he held that goddamn title. But anyway, though, I thought it really was a good match for Del Rio. It would have been a good match for Del Rio at WrestleMania if he was IC champion. Kingston, he did not defend the championship in Mania. He was actually added to the Mania card at the very last second. Almost literally, he was added to the card the day of WrestleMania in that throwaway 8-man tag team match with Santino, Big Show, Kane against the Core. So, I feel like it wouldn't have really been a lost cause if they gave the belt to Del Rio. But regardless, it was a really, really good match. And I point to this match, and I direct anyone to this match that says that Del Rio was never over as a heel. And yeah, sure, he wasn't over as a heel maybe in 2012, and it's due to the Sheamus, or maybe later on, right before he left the company for the first time, when he was already damaged goods, in my opinion. He had success, no doubt, but he really wasn't the same character that he was at this point in time in February of 2011. He was coming out, cutting great promos every single week, and this was one of them. The crowd was thoroughly behind Del Rio. He was also getting cheered because he was such a great heel. People were getting behind him. He was one of the rare heels that was winning matches clean. No other heels at that point in time could say that. Not The Miz, not even CM Punk. Del Rio was a rare breed back in late 2010, early 2011. They knew he was winning feuds and beating people in clean fashion, and he was backing it up with his trash talking, or backing up his trash talking by winning matches clean, I guess. That's what made him such a great heel. And the cars and the ring announcer, Ricardo Rodriguez, just everything about the character clicked. Whether you think he would have won or should have won the Rumble, whether he should have won the Rumble or not is regardless. That's a tongue twister. But it really did catapult his momentum into becoming a legitimate contender to the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania. Now again, whether he should have won the title at WrestleMania is another thing, but I really think they did right by him going into WrestleMania with the momentum he had. Granted, he lost to Christian a bunch of times, like in early 2011, which I thought was kind of unnecessary. I love Christian, I'll get to him in a second, but the fact that he lost as many times as he did going into Mania made me feel like he was going to win, made me think that he was going to win, and he didn't, so that was a bit confusing. But that aside, this was a really, really good match. Him and Kingston have always had great chemistry. I don't think this was the first match they ever had against each other, but it was one of the first few, and they would have many matches against each other in the years that followed, but this was definitely one of the better ones. Just great emotion. Kingston had a few hope spots throughout, so he wasn't a total lost cause and just a whipping boy for Del Rio. Del Rio furthered his momentum, got great heat, and a really, really good opening match. After that, Elimination Chamber match for the World Heavyweight Championship. Probably one of, if not my favorite chamber match of all time. And as a fan anyway, the 1-0-2 was just spectacular. But I thought this one was really, really, really good. The match starts out with Edge and Rey Mysterio. In comes Kane, McIntyre, Big Show, and Barrett. Originally, it was supposed to be Ziggler and Big Show's spot, but because he got fired by Teddy Long in storyline on the SmackDown before the pay-per-view, they replaced him with Big Show, who had already lost a qualifying match to I believe, to Wade Barrett, who was also in this match. So they would further their feud. They were feuding going into WrestleMania. That would later lead to, like I said, that throwaway 8-man tag team match at WrestleMania 27. But Big Show came in like a house of fire. I'm pretty sure he got taken out by Wade Barrett, or he took out Wade Barrett pretty quickly. So I thought that was kind of bullshit because I thought Wade Barrett deserved better, but Big Show was taken out by Kane, which was interesting, and then Kane would take out Drew McIntyre, whose involvement in this match was really intriguing to me. Because at this point, Ziggler, or rather McIntyre, was already kind of a lost cause. I mean, there was still hope for him, and he had great aggression in this match, but before qualifying for the Chamber, he wasn't doing anything. And WWE had already soured on him in the summer of 2010, before this pay-per-view, because of the whole domestic dispute with him and Taryn Terrell, otherwise known as Tiffany in WWE, Taryn Terrell, which is her real name. She went by that name in TNA as well, in the years that followed. But he did nothing. I know he won the tag team titles that fall for a forgettable reign with Cody Rhodes, but beyond that, he was barely on TV. It got to the point where he was feuding with Trent Beretta, who also went nowhere. So that was a real, a telltale sign they really had no plans for him going into WrestleMania. I don't even think he was on the fucking card. But anyway, his involvement in this match was limited, but it was great to see him at least involved in the match. We went a while without getting an elimination. It was almost 20 minutes in before Barrett got taken out by Big Show. So that was cool to see. But in the end, Kane got taken out by Edge, and it came down to the first two combatants, the first two entrants, Rey Mysterio and Edge, shades of their 2008 No Way Out match, of their 2009 finishing sequence, and also inside the Elimination Chamber. These two just have great fucking chemistry. It was so great to see them. Again, there was really no doubt that Edge was winning. It was already pretty much set in stone. It would be Edge and Del Rio at WrestleMania. But even still, there were a lot of great near falls that made me think for a split second that Rey Mysterio really did have a chance of winning the World Heavyweight Championship on this show. The great back and forth near falls, the suspenseful near falls, I thought were really, really well done. Rey Mysterio going for a second 619, he connects, going for a dropping the dime or a flying senton, whatever he calls it, and Edge connects with the spear for the win to retain the title. Great fucking match. Again, probably my favorite Chamber match as a fan, if not of all time. It's going to be hard to top that 0-2 one at Survivor Series, but thinking back now, there's few Chamber matches I love more than this one. I thought this, despite being very predictable, really hit on all cylinders from an in-ring standpoint. So afterwards, Del Rio comes out, starts attacking Edge, and out of nowhere, go! Out comes Christian to Edge's aid, kind of a reuniting of sorts of Edge and Christian, which was so fucking cool to see. And the funny thing was that I was hoping that Christian would be the sixth guy in the match. And then when Big Show came out, I'm like, God damn it. Like, Christian should have come back by this point. And he had been out with an injury. He was taken out by none other than Alberto Del Rio in the fall of 2010. And he was sidelined for a solid 5 months before coming back on the show. And I credit this as the moment I officially became a Christian fan. When he came back on that night, I fucking marked my brains out. Marked the hell out for Christian coming back. And I was already kind of a fan of his. I liked him in 2009. I liked him a little more in 2010. But this was the moment I really became a fan of his. So 5 years to the day. I'm recording this on the 4-year anniversary, rather the 5-year anniversary of the pay-per-view. So that's pretty cool. And this is going up in like mid-March. I'm recording this so far in advance. But I love this show. I'll be watching it again tonight. But yeah, so Christian comes out to Del Rio's dismay, to the chagrin of Alberto Del Rio. He takes out Del Rio with a kill switch, and that pops the crowd. So a great moment, a great return for Christian, and a great night for Canadians, because Trish Stratus would come out as well, being revealed as one of the hosts, one of the coaches on Tough Enough, which was cool. She would have a brief segment with Booker T not doing the spin-a-rooney, or maybe a half-assed spin-a-rooney, and saying, "Can you dig it, sucker?" And not the best of ways, but a fun little segment. She would come out later to confront Lay Cool after Kelly Kelly was rehired, and Trish Stratus came out to Kelly Kelly's aid. And it looked like they were setting up Lay Cool versus Trish and Kelly at Mania, but I guess Kelly got scrapped from the match, and it was Lay Cool and Ziggler versus Trish and Snooki at Mania, with John Morrison, of course. So it was a bit of a random match. But for what it was, it got all the people on the card. I really would have... I've never been the biggest Kelly fan, but it would have been nice if she was involved in that match and not fucking, Snooki, which they got what they wanted, the mainstream attention, but it was kind of a waste. But anyway, getting back to Chamber pay-per-view, we had for the tag team titles, easily the worst match in the entire show, the Core beating Vladimir, Kozlov, and Santino for the WWE Tag Team Championships. it wasn't a bad match. It just paled in comparison to everything else on the show, which I thought everything was pretty much great to amazing. And this match rather, was just kind of meh. I didn't really care about the core. I felt like they were really damaged, especially when they took the titles off them the next night to Cena and Miz before winning them back the same night. The tag titles meant jack squat at this point in time in WWE. They weren't defended at WrestleMania. The core had all the belts going into WrestleMania 27. But again, like I said earlier, they were squashed by the quad, or the group of, I don't know what you would call the quad. I don't know, the quadruple group of Big Show, Kane, Kofi, Kingston, and Santino. But this match was all right. It was just good to see the core win the belts. I mean, it didn't really mean much, but Kozlov and Santino really had their reign as champions. They had their reign. It served a purpose. It ran its course, and it was time to take the titles off them and give them to a more deserving team, which really wasn't saying much, but still, it was a decent match for what it was with the right result. After that, for the WWE Championship, the first time in Elimination Chamber pay-per-view history, I mean, it was only the second installment, but you know what I mean. The WWE title was not defended inside the Chamber. Instead, the Chamber match was a number one contenders match to determine who would face the WWE Champion for the title at WrestleMania 27, which I'll get to in a minute. But the match itself was The Miz defending against Jerry Lawler, who did have a pretty nice, solid 3-month-long feud. I mean, I think it went a little longer than it should have, but it was nice to see Miz get spotlighted, and especially Jerry Lawler, who didn't really have his WWE Championship match. He had never before contended for the title before November of that year, of 2010. They had that TLC match, which I thought was better than this, but the emotion here was good. I mean, there was, unlike the other Chamber matches, this show is pretty predictable, and which I'll get to in a second, but I thought overall it very much exceeded expectations. But with this match, there was a small chance that Lawler could come out on top, get a brief run with the WWE title before dropping it the next night or whatever. And he didn't. He was unsuccessful in winning the championship. It was cool to see Miz win clean for a change. And he had a good reign. I think a lot of people shit on his reign as WWE champion. It's debatable, but I thought he had a very good reign, and he was very entertaining as WWE champion. But yeah, good match. Jerry Lawler held his own for a 60-year-old man. He definitely had a really good outing here. Miz looked very good here as well. Hitting the skull-crushing finale, as I mentioned, for the clean victory. Still the WWE champion after a 3 count. Good stuff there. We get to the main event, a number one contenders match, Elimination Chamber match, to determine who was facing the WWE champion for the title in the main event of WrestleMania 27. I know Del Rio was the Royal Rumble winner, but he would not get the main event, and otherwise he got the fucking opening match. That later got changed to the you won the Rumble, you got the opening match of Mania, at least in 27 and 28. For whatever reason, I have no idea. But anyway, the main event, John Cena taking on CM Punk, Sheamus, Orton, R-Truth, and John Morrison. Again, I enjoyed the other Chamber match more, but this one was also very, very good. I just had more star power. R-Truth taken out almost immediately by CM Punk. Not immediately, but he was the first one gone. It did take a while. Not by Punk. He was taken out by Sheamus, I'm sorry. But he lasted longer than he did in 2010, so there was that. So from there, CM Punk took out Randy Orton after a bit of a confusing, back and forth. So what happened was this. Punk, his chamber malfunctioned. He came out, got hit with an RKO by Orton. Orton took him out. The GM chimed in, the anonymous, amazing, glorious Raw general manager chimed in and said it was unfair. So Punk was put back in his pod, and when he entered, he took out Orton almost immediately with a GTS to take him out. So a great, spotlighting for Punk there, and taunting him and doing the pounding of the fist on the mat and doing the arms up taunt. That was great. So Sheamus he was taken out by John Morrison, who fell from the top of the chamber. Morrison lasted not till the very end, but he was among the final 3 participants like he was in 2010, so he got a great spotlighting here. Didn't earn him, a big match at WrestleMania, but, which I thought it should have, especially coming off of his impressive outing in the Royal Rumble 2 with that great spot like I talked about, in my review of the Rumble last year from 2011. But yeah, I thought that he had a great outing here too, climbing on the fucking chamber like a Spider-Man, like a spider monkey. It was so cool to see. He takes out Sheamus. CM Punk took out John Morrison, And it came down to Punk and Cena after all the bad blood these two had for almost 2 months. It kind of ended a bit anticlimactically. He took out Morrison, and then CM Punk got taken out by Cena with an AA almost 20, 30 seconds later, so they should have had a better back and forth than they did. Maybe they were rushing it. I don't know. I mean, it protected Punk in a way, in the respect that he didn't see it coming. He was blindsided by Cena, so I guess that kind of protected him. I don't see why. It's not like he was WWE champion or anything going into WrestleMania. They didn't really have high, they weren't really high on Punk that much in 2011 until, the whole pipe bomb thing happened, and the rest is history. But a better finishing sequence would have been appreciated. But other than that, this was a very good match. Cena winning was not all that exciting. It did set up the predictable match with Miz at WrestleMania, but still, from an in-ring standpoint, like the other one, was a very, very good Chamber match. So that was Elimination Chamber 2011. You know what I'm going to say. 2 thumbs up. One of my favorite pay-per-views from that year. A lot of great pay-per-views in 2011. A lot of bad pay-per-views too. But a lot of great ones, including Money in the Bank, SummerSlam, TLC, Extreme Rules, and now Elimination Chamber, all of which I've talked about in the past here on the show on WrestleRant and past editions. If you want to check them out, just go to my channel, go to the search bar, and check out SummerSlam 2011 review, or Money in the Bank 2011 review, or TLC 2011 review. I've already talked about them in the last couple of years here on WrestleRant. And that's my review of Elimination Chamber 2011. Well worth your time. Easily the best Chamber pay-per-view you'll probably ever watch. I thought this was a really, really good show. For a predictable show, for a predictable pay-per-view, I thought every match exceeded expectations for the most part. Del Rio and Kingston, an exciting opener. The first championship Chamber match was fucking amazing from a wrestling standpoint. We got the return of Christian. We had Trish coming back, setting up her in-ring appearance at WrestleMania. The tag title match was fine for what it was, but it had the right results. The WWE title match was very, very good, considering who was involved in Miz and Jerry Lawler. And the main event was also very entertaining as well, with the right result in setting up Miz and Cena for WrestleMania. I mean, that was not a good match, but I wish Punk would have won, but, that's neither here nor there 5 years later. But still, overall, a very, very good pay-per-view. Check it out on the WWE Network. Again, probably biased because I love this pay-per-view so much, but I will say this much. You will not be wasting your time checking out the show like you would be the other installments of the Elimination Chamber. So that's it, guys. That is the Elimination Chamber 2011. We'll be back in my next video, whenever that might be. I'm losing track here. I'm recording this so far in advance. I have no idea when these videos are going up. But I will be talking about Elimination Chamber 2012, which I did watch live at Buffalo Wild Wings 4 years ago. So I do look forward to watching that back and reviewing it for you guys in my next WrestleRant edition. But until then, you can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/graham.jason.matthews. Give the page a thumbs up. You can follow me on Twitter. Give your thoughts on this show either in the comment section below or by tweeting me on Twitter at WrestleRant. All the links are down below in the description box, including my website, nextairwrestling.net, for all full written reviews of past Elimination Chamber pay-per-view shows, Raw, SmackDown, main event, Superstars, Teen Impact Wrestling, Ring of Honor, Lucha Underground, NXT, and everything else in between. So I'm Graham G.S. Matthews, and I'll catch you folks down the road.